There's no denying that the members of the Kardashian family know how to run their businesses. However, their individual lives and relationships with one another could use some work. We'll show you some of the most outlandish things to happen on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Be sure to hit subscribe and turn on your notifications to get more great videos from the taco. Now let's talk Kardashian. Fed up. We know the time passed by in the blink of an eye, but Keeping Up with the Kardashians is on the 15th season. While we're not sick of it yet, it seems as if Kourtney Kardashian is getting there. Although she loves her sisters, she doesn't necessarily love being a part of the Kardashian brand. This came to a head when Kim Kardashian wanted to have a meeting regarding their Christmas card photo that conflicted with Kourtney putting her kids to bed. Soon both sisters were screaming at one another, and Kim called Kourtney her least exciting sister to look at. This over-the-top fight over a simple scheduling issue proved just how much trouble these sisters' relationship was in. Online issues. Unlike all of the other members of her family, Kourtney puts earning money at a low priority. At this point, she could never work again and be set for life, so she chooses to dedicate herself to her children. But her siblings don't appreciate or understand her non-hustling attitude, and their recent fights about it have even spilled over onto social media. Kourtney tweeted her priority as being a mother, and Kim fired back stating there's no reason she can't be a mother and work a business. Although both sisters insisted they're good with one another, Kourtney added she won't tolerate the way she's being judged and criticized anymore. Breakup. There's no denying that Kourtney Kardashian's ex, Scott Disick, has his own issues he's dealing with, but he and Kourtney were together for so long and have kids together that it seems he's having serious trouble moving on without her. His relationship with Sofia Richie is his second serious one ever, and he admitted to feeling guilt about moving on. Although part of him is happy, he is also plagued by guilt and still thinks about getting back together with his ex. Disick claims not to want to talk to the Kardashian sisters about his relationship, but it sounds as if he could seriously benefit from talking to a therapist. Animosity. It's no secret that the favorite conversation topic of the Kardashian family is themselves. Khloe and Kim have spent a ton of time comparing notes and complaining about the therapy speak Kourtney has been using lately. Both sisters express rage towards Kourtney's therapist and scream "we hate you" into the camera in case she happens to be watching. Kourtney feels this furious reaction is more proof that her sisters just don't support her lifestyle choices, deviating from the Kardashian brand. Honesty. While Kim Kardashian was busy screaming at Kourtney, she was also being less than honest towards one of her younger sisters. When Kendall Jenner finds out her house needs work, she asks Kim if she can stay with her during construction. Kim happily agrees, but forgets to mention she's actually selling that house. Not only does she make this major mistake, but she refuses to admit it until Kendall confronts her about it. These two sisters argue in the bathroom during a party like a couple of teenagers at prom. While Kim eventually apologizes, this incident just goes to show how bad communication has gotten between these siblings. Boundaries. For most of her life, Khloe Kardashian had accepted being the fat sibling, but now that she has a brand new revenge body, she wants to keep it that way. When she was pregnant with baby True, Khloe continued to work out. However, that wasn't good enough for the boundary-stomping Kris Jenner, who showed up to interrupt Khloe's workout. She decided to give her a lecture and try to prevent her from finishing her routine. Khloe was so upset by the intrusion, she called her mother a psychopath. DUI. Sadly, a celebrity being arrested for driving under the influence has become almost a trope at this point. When Khloe Kardashian was arrested for this serious offense, her family treated the entire incident as a joke. On their way to take Khloe to jail, her sister Kim Kardashian was casually taking selfies on the car ride over. As if that wasn't ridiculous enough, both Kim and mom Kris Jenner keep mugshots of Khloe on their desks. Driving while under the influence is a dangerous and deadly event, and treating it so flippantly is pretty disturbing. Kris Jenner seems more worried about this affecting their brand than how it could have affected another family. The Mirror. We've seen Kourtney's ex Scott Disick do some pretty horrible things on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but this might be the most shocking. While Kourtney and her then 8-month-old son Mason were out getting dinner, Scott Disick decided to indulge big. Upon arriving home, Kourtney immediately noticed the house reeked of marijuana and confronted Scott about it. But since he had passed out after a long night of partying, he didn't enjoy being woken up and punched a mirror in a fit of rage. This was a terrifying moment, and producers even had to step in to get him to the hospital. Robbery. Even if you're not a fan of Kim Kardashian, you have to admit she underwent an extremely traumatic experience. She was the victim of a terrifying armed robbery, and it left her shaken to her very core. On one episode, Kim admitted the event had spilled over into her everyday life, and she now struggled to even drive her car without having a full-blown panic attack. To her credit, Kris Jenner hired Kim a therapist for this issue, but it was only for the day and seemed to be mostly for getting material for the show. Paralysis. Although she's a gorgeous and talented model, Kendall Jenner has admitted to having serious anxiety problems. On one episode, she confessed to experiencing serious panic attacks that wake her up during the night. When this happens, all she can do is pace by the side of her bed, crying and trying to calm herself down. Sometimes she can't even do this and will wake up in a fit of sleep paralysis, finding it absolutely impossible to move a single muscle. Divorce. We saw Khloe get married to Lamar Odom and then go through an extremely messy and painful divorce. This was a huge loss in her life, and Khloe admits she didn't heal with it in a healthy way. Khloe claims she's never been much of a party girl, but she turned to alcohol to cope with this unhappy period of her life. During season 9, she admits to being almost perpetually drunk while filming. We're just saying therapy is a great way to learn to cope with these types of problems. Ghost. Although it's easy to get caught up in the dating lives of her daughter, Kris Jenner has had a difficult romantic life herself. In fact, she believes her late husband, Rob Kardashian, spoke to her daughter Kim using a very strange method: her phone. On an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Kris Jenner revealed she believed her late husband tried to warn Kim she was going to be robbed. Apparently, the day Kim was robbed was also the anniversary of her father's funeral, and Rob tried to warn Kim by causing the alarm on her phone to go off. Purse fight. We're used to seeing the Kardashian siblings constantly fighting with one another, but usually they just stick to their words. During one fight between Khloe and Kim Kardashian, things got quite heated. Kim began screaming at Khloe not to be rude while beating her with her purse over and over again. Then Kim would walk out of the room only to come back and deliver more blows with her purse. Throughout the whole thing, Khloe taunted her, telling her to go cry somewhere else because nobody wants to hear her. Fancy Nancy. During an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Khloe and Kourtney decided they had enough of Kim. Of course, they couldn't simply have a sit-down conversation with their sister about it, so they decided to simply complain about her. But what makes this so strange is they did so right in front of her. The two women invented a friend they called Fancy Nancy, which was just a code word for Kim. Eventually, Kim realized her sisters were really just having an insulting conversation about her and couldn't even be bothered to go elsewhere. Kim admitted the whole Fancy Nancy thing really hurt her feelings. Wake up. Whether it's the ghost of her father or her sister Khloe, Kim Kardashian doesn't appreciate being woken up under any circumstance. When Khloe disturbed Kim from her slumber, Kim absolutely lost her mind about it. She sent her sister a positively scathing email accusing Khloe of being evil, spiteful, and jealous. According to Kim, Khloe had crossed a serious line and was nothing more than an evil troll. The email was totally over the top, and eventually even Kim realized that too. She mentioned the incident on social media and laughed it off as something sisters just do to one another. The slap. Jonathan Cheban may be BFFs with Kim Kardashian, but he's had a ton of beef with her sisters. During one particular episode, he went way over the line when arguing with Kourtney. While discussing business, Kourtney was attacked for spending too much time with her kids and not enough time working. Jonathan accused Kourtney of being constantly pregnant, and Kourtney fires back that Jonathan is only famous for following Kim around. Then he took it way too far by talking about Kourtney's relationship with her now ex, Scott Disick. Kourtney was pushed too far and slapped Jonathan for his comment. During this altercation, Kim Kardashian just sat by and watched it all play out in front of her. Coddling. There's a running joke in the family that Kris Jenner loves whichever of her kids make her the most money. But it turns out her daughters have some harsh feelings towards their brother, Rob Kardashian, and his relationship with Kris. When Kris decided to buy her frequently struggling son a house, her daughters ganged up on her about it. It's clear Kris was just trying to help out her son and didn't appreciate her daughters trying to make a tough situation even worse for her. The fight is pretty ruthless, and Kris Jenner throws out some below-the-belt comments of her own. Losing touch. The transition of Caitlyn Jenner was difficult for both her and her family members. Kris Jenner was outraged when she read that Caitlyn had written about her and their marriage in her memoirs and vowed never to speak to her again. According to Kris, she had never been so angry and disappointed in someone in her entire life. Having a therapist to guide the conversation and attempt to salvage a relationship might have made things easier. Caitlyn Jenner not only lost her relationship with Kris Jenner, but with many of her children as well. Loss. Caitlyn Jenner expressed remorse about losing touch with Khloe Kardashian when the two used to be rather close. However, according to Khloe, the situation was incredibly traumatic for her. She claimed she learned about Caitlyn's desire to transition in a business meeting for the new show I Am Kate. To add to the stress, Khloe felt as if she was losing her second father, but wasn't allowed to reveal her sadness without seeming unsupportive. And just to complicate matters even more, she felt at odds standing between Kris Jenner and Caitlyn. The iPad. Considering the vast amount of wealth controlled by the Kardashian family, it seems ridiculous for them to squabble over a single iPad. But that's exactly the sort of trivial thing they'll be reduced to fighting over, as we've learned in season 12 of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Kendall had given her big brother Rob an iPad as a Christmas gift, only to learn he had regifted it to Blac Chyna. Kendall was furious about the perceived slight and called Rob up to confront him. Instead of understanding how his actions hurt his sister, Rob simply offered to return the iPad and laughed about the situation. Do you think that the Kardashian family could benefit from getting some therapy? Before you go, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications to get the latest videos from the taco.